Hey folks, it's Cement once again, and welcome back to another video on the Stallone Marathon. And I know I reviewed the Rambo films long ago, but I'm doing Stallone Marathon. My username has Rambo in the title. I have to talk about the Rambo films because I love them so much. It's my favorite movie series because I love all four movies. I don't think there's ever been a bad Rambo movie. My favorite is Rambo 2, then 3, then 4, then 1, but that's nothing against First Blood. It's still a great movie, action movie, but it's also a great dramatic role with Stallone. Has a wonderful performance also by Richard Crenna, Brian Dennehy. You have a very young David Caruso. Ted Kotcheff, the director, did a great job. Previously, no, after this, he would do Uncommon Valor in 1983, which is a fantastically underrated as hell film with Gene Hackman, Patrick Swayze, Randall Tetzcobb, Reb Brown, Tim Thomerson, Robert Stack. Uncommon Valor is an awesome movie. And the year before that, he did First Blood. And First Blood, this was a movie, or at least a script, based on the novel by David Morrell, in which Rambo was much more insane, much deadlier. For example, if you remember First Blood, you have the scene where Rambo, there's the kid who's the hunter, or the son of the hunter, and he has a knife on him. In the novel, he kills the kid, but here they wanted to make him at least somewhat sympathetic, so he didn't do that. And in the novel, he killed a lot of people. And this one, technically, you only see him kill one guy, and that's in self-defense. That's the asshole shooting at him in the helicopter. And he has no other choice. He's got to throw the rock. And the dumbass is stupid enough not to have a fucking seatbelt, so he falls to his death like an idiot that he is. And he was the guy who was fucking with Rambo and almost downright torturing him when he was in jail. So the fucker deserved it. I know you have the scene where Rambo's in the truck and you have a cop car that crashes, but that's never deemed that anyone died in that. So for all intents and purposes, only one guy died, and it's the guy who really fucking deserved it. And it was self-defense. It just destroyed a shitload of property. But First Blood, it was a script that a lot of people passed on. A lot of people were thinking of doing, but they said no because it was a career killer. It would ruin careers and it would not work out. And ultimately it got to Stallone, who thought of it as a challenge. You have him as John J. Rambo, Green Beret, Congressional Medal of Honor, going to see his friend, his buddy, finds out his buddy Delmar is dead. He got something over in Vietnam and he wasted away. And that was pretty much his last hope at friendship, civilization. And now he's all by himself and he's going down that long road. And it's hard as hell. And he just wants a bite to eat. And Brian Denny is this sheriff of this little town called Hope. And Rambo asks, is there any law against me against something here? Yeah, me. And it's sort of, I know if you listen to the making of and commentary, they mention how Brian Denny's character was a Korean War veteran, while Rambo was a Vietnam veteran. And the Korean War was sort of the forgotten war, while people at that point were still talking about Vietnam. So maybe it's something about that. I know Brian Denny also mentioned about how, well, it's the way you look. And even people in the theater would go, what's wrong with the way John Rambo looks? He looks fine to me. He looks normal. Yes, I watch him like he looks normal to me as well. And pretty much they pushed, and they pushed too much. Don't push, I'll give you a war you won't believe. And he is taken over the bridge, but he defies authority and he goes back into town and he gets arrested for no good reason. Vagrancy, horseshit, more like it. He pats him down and finds a knife. And Brian Denny goes, well, you hunt with a knife. And Rambo goes, name it. And Stallone doesn't have much dialogue, but it works perfectly fine with the character, with the kind of state of mind he's in. He's not a guy who's going to give soliloquies and Shakespearean speeches. He's a guy who is very simple, to the point, and in a bad place mentally. In a way, the novel First Blood was done. It's a very underrated film by William Friedkin. William Friedkin called The Hunted, with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro, which I reviewed long ago. The review is still on my channel. It's from 2003, The Hunted. I think it's a great movie. I saw it in the theaters and love it to this day. Tommy Lee Jones does a great job. Benicio del Toro does a great job. And in that, if you watch that movie, that's the novel First Blood. Tommy Lee Jones is the Trautman character, and Benicio del Toro is the Rambo character, only he is killing people, and he is too far gone, and he is too, he is the Frankenstein monster that needs to be put down by the end of it. And that's why you don't need to reboot Rambo, because they did that. It's called The Hunted. It's a great fucking movie. Underrated. Again, for those interested, I reviewed it. It's still on the channel. And if you haven't seen The Hunted, feel free to check it out. It's a great movie. But yeah, they put him in jail and they fucked with him, put in fingerprints. Before the shower, they hit him in the back, like the asshole who gets his comeuppance later, slams him in the back with his baton. They hose him down like he was an animal. They decide to shave him dry, which, have you tried shaving dry? That's pretty fucking painful, trying to shave someone dry. And Rambo just flashes to when he was a POW in Vietnam and he goes apeshit. Fucking awesome fight in the police station, taking care of business. Fucks up very, very young David Caruso, fucks up all these guys, flips, punches, holding on to something, kicking with both legs, doing a leg sweep and elbowing the guy, and I think in real life, Stallone accidentally broke the guy's nose. A great fight scene in the police station. And when Stallone comes out, and you have that credit goes a lot to Jerry Goldsmith in his score in these movies. Jerry Goldsmith, these are my favorite music that he's done is for the Rambo films, specifically Rambo First Blood Part 2, is, I would say, my favorite Jerry Goldsmith score. But this one is a fantastic score by Jerry Goldsmith. And it is the reason why these films, I mean, even references to his music in Rambo 4 is a great thing. But in the first three films, they're a reason why these films were popular. It's not the only reason, of course, but it is a big reason. It's a very well done classic score. You have a wonderful motorcycle chase sequence, and they follow him into the forest, and I love the way the forest is shot. I think it was British Columbia, or I'm not sure if it's Vancouver or British Columbia. I'm not exactly sure where they shot it, but the location was perfect. It was gloomy, it was dark, and it was a bit creepy. And Rambo starts hunting these guys down one by one. And that's because before that you have the scene where he's on the side of the cliff and that asshole is shooting at him, and the guy he has not killed anybody. He's beating them up. He's unarmed. He's on the side of the cliff. He can't go anywhere. And this guy's trying to shoot him down. So the cop is being a killer at this point. And Rambo, he can't do anything but jump down and grabbing these trees. And I know Stallone did some of that stunt. Fucked up his ribs. Grabs a tree branch, falls to the ground. That's where he gets that really nasty looking cut that he sews up. Very well done effect when that scene happens. But like I said, at this point, he's just trying to survive. And this asshole's shooting at him, and he doesn't have any guns. There's no reason for the cop to be shooting at him. Stallone has to defend himself. So Rambo gets the rock, throws it at the chopper. The guy was too stupid enough to know what a seatbelt is. Falls to his death, and he fucking deserves it because he's a fucking prick. He's a fucking asshole. He deserved it. And I thought this film went at a very good pace. It's only 90-some minutes long. I know the original cut was 3 or 4 hours long, and Stallone hated it to the point he mentioned he like threw up somewhere and he wanted to buy the movie to burn it because he thought the film would kill his career. But they were able to trim it down to 90 minutes, give or take, 95 minutes. And it goes by very fast. And that's when he stitches arm, looks like it hurts like a motherfucker, bloody as hell, very well done practical effect. And then still, Rambo tries to give himself up, but he's saying, I didn't do anything. And then once again, they shoot at him because they're fucking assholes. So a storm comes, it's like he's done everything he could. He got arrested for no good reason. He got tortured in fucking prison. He got chased. He was on the cliff. They were shooting him, trying to kill him. He's fucked up his arm. Killed in self-defense. He tries to give himself up again. They shoot at him again. So we become very sympathetic to him. So when he starts hunting these guys down, I'm like, kill their ass. But he doesn't. He maims them and fucks their day up, whether by breaking their arm or stabbing them in the hip or having a trap that goes like this with spikes that hits their hip, or grabbing them and having them right here, and you see the rope going into the neck and bleeding. And Sly goes at the Brian Denny with a knife. Could kill them all. Could kill you. In town near the law, out here it's me. Don't push it. Don't push, I'll give you a war you won't believe. Let it go. Let it go. And the minimalistic dialogue works because whenever Rambo speaks, you remember it. You remember, don't push, I'll give you a war you won't believe. You remember that. And there's a reason why he's talking. And Sly is out there hunting boar and has this little cave, and Brian Dennehy is trying to patch himself up. And Colonel Trautman comes in. Richard Crenna. I know originally supposed to be Kirk Douglas, but Kirk Douglas wanted a lot of things in the script changed, including wanting to kill Rambo, and all this other stuff. And they said, nah. I think Stallone even mentioned at one point, he's like, well, maybe Trautman, he's like Rambo as well. And at one point, he captures Rambo and ties him up and, beats him up or kills him or something. And Sly's like, no, that's not this kind of movie. But Richard Crenna, he only had a day or two notice, and he's a wonderful job in these movies, the first 3 that he's in. Rest in peace, Richard Crenna. Love him as an actor. Love him in this movie, Leviathan. Love him as Colonel Trautman. And even Hot Shots Part 2. Love Richard Crenna. And this Trautman's a bit different from the others in Rambo 2 and 3, because this Trautman, you're not quite sure if he's on Rambo's side or not. That maybe he says he's kind of friendly with Rambo, but you get the idea maybe with a little push he would take Rambo out and kill him. There's a little bit of darkness to Trautman's character in the first film, as opposed to the second and the third one. So when you watch these movies, you see this interesting change in Trautman, where he's sort of the stern father that you're not sure about, to the friend who, the only supporter of Rambo in the second film, to actual buddy in the third film. So I like how they did that with Trautman. I think that's really cool. When you watch these movies back to back, it's a nice transition for Trautman and Richard Crenna. So I liked that. And of course, that memorable line, you send that many, you prepare one thing. What? A good supply of body bags. And of course, the speech he gives to Denny, he's like, you don't seem to want to accept the fact you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare. With a man who's the best. With guns, with knives, with his bare hands. And who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather. To live off the land. To eat things that will make a billy goat puke. If Vietnam's job was to dispose of enemy personnel. To kill. Period. Win by attrition. Well, Rambo was the best. And considering he only had a day or two to prepare, Richard Crenna pulled this off very well. And Trautman tries to talk with Sly on this little CB radio, and there's this little conversation, and Rambo even says, "They drew first blood, not me. They drew first blood." That's where later on you got the kid of this hunter lets him go, chases his cave and mine. This National Guard goofball assholes shoot at him, blow up the mine. You think Rambo's dead, and you have that great scene where he's going through the cave. I like the way it's lit all in natural lighting, and this whole deal with the rats, and sort of him going through the underworld and then coming off, climbing to the promised land, and now he's set to fuck up this town royally. And he steals a truck that has a M60 and destroys the town. He blows up a gas station, fucks up a gun store, shoots the shit out of, I think it's like a bank, something like that, and shoots up the police station, shoots at Brian Dennehy. He's not dead, he's still moving, but puts up Brian Dennehy, and then Trautman comes in. And yeah, that great speech, which I know a lot of people made fun of. Oh, I can't understand him. I understood him perfectly. Even when I first saw it as a kid, I understand him perfectly. You know, nothing is over. Nothing. You don't just turn it off. Yeah, I wanted to win, but nobody would let us win. I get back to the world. I see protesters spitting at me. Protesting me, spitting, call me baby tail and all sorts of vile crap. Who are they to protest me, huh? Who are they? Unless they've been me or been there and know what the hell they're yapping about. Back there, I could fly a gunship. I could drive a tank. Here, I can't keep a job parking cars. And he tells about his buddy who had a car, and there's a little boy with a shoe shine box. He's like, "Shoe shine, please, shoe shine." And I go, "Yeah," and I go, "No," and he said, "Yeah." I went to get a couple of beers. Box was wired, and his body's all over the place, and he's all over me. But my friend, he's all over me. There's body parts and people are yelling. He's asked for help. He wants to say, "Johnny, I want to go home, Johnny. I want to drive that car." I'm like, how do you drive the car? I can't find your fucking legs. I can't find your legs. And Stallone is doing, he does a better job than I could. I I understood what he was talking about. And it's his emotional climax. Usually in movies, it's an explosive climax. Here's an emotional climax. And it works. It's finally all this shit built up. He had to unleash it somehow, some way, some form. And this is the way to do it. And letting that stuff out of the basement. Now he'll give himself up and he goes to jail, which will lead into Rambo First Blood Part 2. Which I know that was at first written by James Cameron, where it started off with Rambo in a mental institution. Not sure if I really wanted to see that, and then Stallone rewrote it. And I love First Blood. I love the song at the end. It's a long road, and it's hard as hell, by Dan Hill. I think that's a great song. Now, people may ask, well, how come you listed it at the bottom of the 4 Rambo films? I still love the movie. Really don't have any problems with it. I grew up more with the comic book superhero Rambo as a kid, with the C4-tipped explosive arrows and big, huge action set pieces. And when I watch a movie, the number one is entertainment. Explosive entertainment, action entertainment. So that's why Rambo First Blood Part 2 is my favorite, and then Rambo 3, because I love the action set pieces. They're big, they're very well done, they're practical. As Rambo as nowadays, people have comic book heroes with Iron Man, Spider-Man, Batman. This was my comic book hero, Rambo. Seeing scenes like that in Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. And then him and Arnold and Predator and the Running Man and Van Damme and Hard Target, and these were my comic book heroes. These were It was those guys. And that's what I prefer in an action movie, is a Rambo or a John Matrix or a Chance Boudreaux or so forth. Dolph Lundgren, I Come in Peace, and all these other movies. Those are the movies I grew up with the most, and those are the films I enjoy the most. It's my cup of tea the most. On the flip side, First Blood is still a fucking good movie. It's still a fucking great flick. Moves at a solid pace, very fast. Great location of the forests and woods. Excellent performances by Stallone, Richard Crenna, Brian Dennehy. Nice to see a young David Caruso in there. I'm a fan of CSI Miami, as well as the movie Session 9, what he would go on later to do. Wonderful score by Jerry Goldsmith. When the action's there, it's fun to watch. Him fucking up a town with an M60 machine gun. I love the look of the M60 machine gun. It does everything very well. It's a great story, and it's also a great action movie. And it's a wonderful start to my favorite movie series of all time. This is easily my favorite film series. I love all 4 Rambo films. I don't repeat myself. I don't think there's a bad Rambo movie at all. I love all 4 of these to death. And that's why when I thought of a username on YouTube, I'm like, well, I love Rambo. I love all 4 films. It's gotta be, I gotta have Rambo in there. So I love the character. I know when I talk about my favorite Stallone film, I'm always mixed between either Cobra or Rambo First Blood Part 2. But if we're talking, if I add in all 4 movies, then yes, the Rambo films are my favorite Stallone movies. Because I think all 4 are great. And you'll hear more about that when I talk about the excellent, one of the quintessential action films, especially of the 80s, Rambo First Blood Part 2. So we will see you later, and see you in the next review.